So I don't know about you guys, but as I watch things unfold in life and in the world, there are so many things that I see where I just can't help but question if the assumptions that we make, generally speaking, are actually leading us to the outcomes that we don't desire. And as an example, I'm having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we're talking about something that needs some strategic thinking, some planning. And this particular friend says basically that they're a little concerned. They got to be a little bit careful as we go through this process because they have a tendency to come across as judgmental. And I could tell for this person that they were thinking of that in a negative light as something that was maybe holding them back or maybe had set them back in the past. And I could just tell that it was something that they were trying to change, maybe. And I said to this person, well, that's one way to think about it. I said, but it made me think of in First Kings when they tell the story about King Solomon, and God comes to Solomon and he basically says, anything you want, you get one wish, essentially. And Solomon, instead of asking for the things that most of us would probably ask for, he asked for wisdom. And so I asked this friend of mine, I said, do you remember what Solomon asked for? And the friend says, well, yeah, ask for wisdom. And I said, well, yeah, that's the first part of the verse. It's the first half of the verse. But there's a second half. Do you remember what he said he wanted the wisdom for? And this person says, well, no, I don't. And I said, well, what he asked for wisdom for was so that he would know how to judge God's people, the Israelites, wisely, so that he would be able to judge between good and evil. And so my whole point in this is we've turned this word judgment, both in Christian and non-Christian circles, into this horrendous thing because, yes, there are times in the Bible where it says, to the measure you judge someone else, you will be judged. Some places it says, do not judge. And so we take that, we just say, well, I just shouldn't judge anything. And yet here we look at where we are in the world, and so much of why we are there is because we fail as a collective society to judge rightly, to judge between good and evil. And so I said to this friend of mine, maybe just think of it this way. If you know there are times where you're using your ability to discern and to judge well, because that's really what it is, it's discernment. You know, if you're doing that in a way that's hurting people, well, then certainly that's something to work on. I said, but it could be the gift that God gave you. Because God does give people the gift of discernment. He does give people the gift of judging between right and wrong, good and evil. Do it or don't do it. And I could see a light bulb go off in this person's mind. Because probably their whole life they've been sitting there thinking there was something wrong with them because they might be too judgmental. And that could be the case. But my guess is, in knowing this person a little bit, is that probably they actually do have the gift of discernment. They probably do have the gift of judging rightly. And instead of thinking that's a bad thing, I encourage this person to learn how to use it for good, to learn how to use it for the purpose it was given, to judge rightly and to counsel and to, like in this situation we were talking about, to say, hey, I think this is a good idea and I think this is a bad idea and here's why. And so I say that because as I look around at so much of what's going on in the world, I just think that so many things that are accepted as common knowledge are actually leading us astray. They're actually leading us to outcomes we don't desire. And that if we want better outcomes, if we want things to be different, if we want things to change, I really believe probably the best way to get there at this point is to question what we accept as common, to question the everyday average thing we're being told, whether it's true or not. Because I just think that so often there's a bit of it that might be true, there's pieces that might be true, but the heart behind what we're doing and what we're being told, not true at all. And so this is just an example as I was thinking, you know, a good, well-intentioned, commonly accepted piece of advice, which is don't judge people, can be misconstrued, at least in my mind, to say, well, then you shouldn't judge anything, which the reality and the truth of the matter is, for any of us to live well, we have to actually know how to judge rightly. And even Solomon asked for that as his one gift. And so my prayer is that us in America and around the world, frankly, that we would also have that prayer. God, give us the wisdom to judge rightly, because it seems like we're not doing a very good job of that on a collective basis. And so anyway, that's what I was thinking about. Wanted to share it. If that resonates with you, I'd love to hear about it. I'll be doing more of these, just kind of taking into question some of the commonly accepted things that we're told to believe, and then thinking about, are the outcomes really what we're expecting based on what we're told to believe, because like I said, I just don't think they are oftentimes. And so anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.